Yeah, let's go ahead and get started, and we have some announcements and so forth. So hopefully folks will join us before we get into the heart of the meeting here. So with that, I'm going to call to order the November 18th, 2021 meeting of the Delta Protection Commission, and welcome all fellow commissioners, the staff, and all those from the public that have joined with us this afternoon and evening. And again, we have a fairly full agenda, and look forward to participation as we go along. So with that, we'll call to order, and would just note that a couple announcements, and then we'll do the flag salute. But I want to read this into the record that, as authorized by Government Code Section 111.33, we're meeting today remotely via Zoom. Members of the public can join us by telephone by calling the 1-888-363-4734 phone number, and then entering the conference code 388754. This information can also be obtained, is located on top of the meeting agenda, and all of the meeting materials are located at www.delta.california.gov. For public comment, please use the raise hand, or either on your electronic device, or just wave at the chair or Eric, and we'll make sure you're called upon. If you're joining by telephone, just press number 2 to indicate you'd like to make a public comment, and we have folks assisting us with the technology, and then they can remove the raised hand as well. So with that, again, thank you everyone for attending this meeting via Zoom and helping to make it a successful meeting this afternoon. So with that, I would maybe ask that our Executive Director, Erik Vink, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to display a flag here, so at your appropriate station, if you'll rise, and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance together, and we'll get started. Eric, you want to lead us?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't think we're going to win the synchronization contest, but we all did a good job, did our duty on the flag salute there. So thank you, everybody. With that, then we'll turn to our commission clerk, Stacy Hayden, and ask Stacy to please extend the roll call so we can formally establish a quorum, and then we'll welcome any guests and other attendees, and we'll get right into the agenda. So Stacy, I'll turn to you.
Thank you. Chair Nottoli.
Here.
Vice Chair Nguyen.
You're muted, Vice Chair Nguyen.
Vice Chair Nguyen. Okay, I'll come back. Commissioner Villegas.
Here.
Commissioner Burgess.
She'll be absent, Stacy.
Commissioner Vasquez. Commissioner Fuller.
Here.
Commissioner Steele. I have a visual on Commissioner Steele, but I'm not sure the audio is working quite yet. So we'll say Commissioner Steele is here, noted by his video presence. Commissioner Nakanishi.
He will be absent as well, Stacy.
Commissioner Paroli.
Here.
Commissioner Slater.
Here.
Commissioner Musi. Commissioner Agar.
Here.
Commissioner Birdsong.
Here.
Commissioner Vogel.
Here.
Commissioner Bush.
Here.
Coming back to Vice Chair Nguyen.
Here.
Ex officio Senator Eggman.
Stacy, Senator Eggman is not joining us, but her designated representative, Liliana Udang, is here.
Thank you. Ex officio Assembly Member Frazier. Okay. Chair Nottoli, we have 11 commission members present and 1 ex officio.
Great. Okay, well, welcome all. And if anyone joins us later, we'll certainly note that and welcome them as well. Want to extend a special welcome to our most recently seated member, Undersecretary for the California Department of Food and Agriculture, Christine Birksong. And Christine, want to welcome you aboard. You join a very dedicated group of folks, both from state agencies and local entities, and we welcome you. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to offer as your opening words of wisdom in being seated as the newest commissioner.
Thank you, Chairman. I don't have any words of wisdom, but I'm very excited to be on this commission. I have some limited experience exploring the Delta, and I know it's a magical place, and I look forward to exploring it further and being a part of this commission and learning from you all. Thank you so much.
You bet. Great. Well, welcome aboard again. We're pleased to have you with us. So, and also just extend a welcome to Liliana Udang. Liliana, glad you're able to represent Senator Eggman, and didn't know if you wanted to offer any comments, Liliana.
Thanks, Chair Nottoli. Just to say thank you all for having us here and doing this really important work. We're glad to at least be part of these discussions as they're ongoing, as we work throughout the state, trying to figure out ways to make sure our waters are safe and healthy and clean for not just our residents, but for our natural resources that we hold so dear here in the valley. So thank you all.
Great. Thanks again, Liliana. Welcome. Okay. Anyone else we missed, Mr. Executive Director, Erik?
Yeah, Commissioner Vasquez joined us just at the conclusion of roll call, so maybe we can get him under the wire as the 12th commissioner present.
Okay, we're going to count you, John. You're here.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, John. All right, with that then, we do have a good robust quorum, and we'll get into our agenda then. First item then is our public comment. This is for any items that are not on the agenda. And if there are those that are signed up or those who wish to raise a hand who want to address an item not on this evening's agenda. Do we have any? Oh, I see a hand up, Stacy. Is it CT Williams?
Yes, we do have a hand up. I'm not sure of the person's name.
Yeah, it's in the chat, Stacy. It's Tom Williams, and he has a general public comment.
Thank you. That chat didn't come to me.
All right, so Tom, again, whoever unmutes or whatever, but Tom, you're welcome. Make your comments and go right ahead, Mr. Williams.
Hi, Dr. Tom Williams from Los Angeles. Why am I interested in the Delta? Because in the 60s and 70s, I worked on the Delta doing part of my PhD dissertation at UC Berkeley in geology and zoology. I worked in the Benicia to Sacramento area and taught at UC Davis along with Roy Schleman. So I have some background with the Delta. My concern is the Delta conveyance. And I have built tunnels worldwide, and you got a real problem with this one because it's a flexible horizontal tube in muck, and will be attached to various vertical rigid shafts at various locations where they want to put in the tunneling shafts. However, if given an earthquake, the levees might fail, but the tunnel will fail also. That's all.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Williams, for your comments and for providing some both historical perspective, but certainly some background as to concerns you've shared with us here this evening. So thank you for calling in long distance, and we appreciate your attendance. Thanks. Anyone else?
There are currently no hands raised.
One last call for public comment for items that are not on the agenda. All right. Seeing none further, we'll move down into our agenda then and thank Mr. Williams for his comment. Next is the DSC reporter update. I will just be very brief. Get a little background noise there. Very quickly, the Stewardship Council met both on October 28th and then again earlier today. It got moved back a week because of the Thanksgiving holiday, and likewise next month we'll be meeting a week earlier than we would normally. I did want to just call out a couple of quick items, and Erik may have something to supplement, but today we had took comments on the environmental impact, the draft for the ecosystem restoration chapter 4 portion of the Delta plan. And I know that many of us have been kept informed about this over time. It's been in the crafting for several years. I know that immediate past year, Mr. Villegas was part of the commission, council when this came forward, and then went back for some more reworking. At any rate, the comment period is still open on that through the end of the month, and it's anticipated that next spring that council staff will bring forward for board for council consideration the final draft amendment for adoption. So a number of comments have been received. We took verbal comments today, and I think some of the folks that are either on the meeting tonight or in the audience may offer other comments to this commission, but certainly they commented to the council about certain aspects of what's being proposed. And I know that there are some alternatives included as a part of the consideration for the plan amendment and all its various components, but we'll just offer that for the purposes of commission members and the various entities that we all represent. If you haven't had a chance to review some or all of that, it would be good if you intend to make comments before the end of the month when the formal comments will be closed off. Obviously, folks can comment on it right up until the time of the consideration by the council, but that is a deadline that's currently looming. The other thing I would just note, and I think certainly commission members and others have been tracking from different vantage points, but we had a panel presentation on carbon sequestration, and Campbell Ingram, who is the executive director for the Delta Conservancy. We had Mr. Paredes from Orange Livermore Labs, and Tom Zuckerman from representing a number of Delta landowners, talking about opportunities as well as challenges, and kind of where that stands as it relates to some of the thoughts about how CO2 might be stored underground to help meet climate action goals, but certainly to assist with a number of the initiatives that are underway to reduce greenhouse gases and obviously address climate change. So again, I know that was all archived. I think it was brief enough that for those that want more information, it was a good backdrop to, I think, discussions that will be ongoing, and would encourage you to go to the council website if you're interested to see the presentation. It was about 25 minutes, but there were some good graphics, and I think it brought to fore both as I said, both the opportunities, but some of the challenges that would certainly have as its focus the areas of the Delta because of the geography and geology, not geography. So with that, I'll just leave it at that. It wasn't an action item, it was an information item, but I think you may find it of interest. So Erik, I don't know if there's anything I missed. I know sitting on both those sessions, so if there's something that you wanted to call out that I may have overlooked, please do it now. Erik, hope you're on mute.
Sorry, I thought I clicked that. I don't believe you missed anything, Mr. Chair. I was trying to recall the main topics at the October meeting, but that was a fairly light one. And I think you covered it. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, very good. So unless there's any questions, we'll move on, and enough heard from me at this point. I will go to my fellow commissioner for comments or announcements. It's your opportunity to share any information you might have. So I'll turn to each of you and ask if there's something you would want to share with the commission and the folks that are participating.
Chair Nottoli,
Yes.
before we move on to number 5, could we check for public comment?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you bet. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so go back. We'll put it in reverse here and go back to item 4. Did you have anybody sign up for public comment on that, Stacy?
I don't have anybody, but just in case anybody needed
Oh, that's good.
to raise their
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm still not seeing any hands raised.
Okay, all right. Press forward again. So now back to fellow commissioners. Comments or announcements? I didn't see any hands, but anything folks wanted to call attention to? Yes, Dennis, Commissioner Agar.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll try to make my, I guess, updates as brief as I can regarding Caltrans efforts in Delta. As you all know, hopefully you received a copy of the latest Delta map for all the construction projects from Erik. Appreciate you, Erik, sending that out. I also do want to share, again, thanks to Erik and working with our Clean California coordinator, Sam Sherman. We were able to put together among all 3 districts a Clean California state beautification project, which encompasses gateway and wayfinding signs throughout the Delta region. So we're excited about that. And as soon as we get approval from our headquarters folks, we can get working on this particular project here in the Delta region. Also, just wanted to share in Clean California, we're looking again for assistance and help for our Adopt the Highway expansion. We're looking for folks to adopt sections of our roadways that are available, where you can receive a stipend of $250 per segment per month. So just wanted to throw that out there. And again, we continue to work with Erik and others to get this Clean California going. We did hold the last workshop, not last, but the 3rd workshop for the local grant portion of Clean California this morning. Hopefully those who are interested of applying for projects for Clean California in your area, they're able to attend. The call for projects is due December 1st, I believe. So it's a quick turnaround. And if you need assistance, please work through Erik to get to my Clean California coordinator, Sam Sherman, if you need assistance. Beyond that, just wanted to share that we're excited to see the federal infrastructure bill get passed, and we're looking forward to the dollars that will be coming into transportation. And of course, other efforts, including broadband, internet access. And speaking of broadband, we did get approval to work on our first initial projects for the middle mile jobs. District 10, we were fortunate to get the first wave in Amador, Alpine, and Calaveras. So we got projects slated to do our broadband efforts within our highway infrastructure. But also, Erik, would you be the right person to have my broadband coordinator work with you to see if there's any upfront communications and coordination that we can help in the Delta? And of course, we can reach out to the other districts if you work through my coordinator.
Yeah, Commissioner Agar, absolutely. I would put your person in touch with Virginia Gardner. She's our program manager who's been the lead. And we're still awaiting word on our broadband grant for the core Delta. We hope to hear by November 30th at this point, rather than yesterday. So, but no, thank you for that. And your comment reminded me that this new infrastructure bill is something that might be worth our focusing on in terms of where there might be opportunities to make improvements in the Delta. Thanks.
And thank you, Erik. And just to complete my report, Mr. Chair, with the federal infrastructure, yeah, we definitely look forward to working with each of our local partners to look for opportunities to compete for these federal funding. And then lastly, just want to throw out there that Caltrans is continuing to hire. transportation engineers, all different classifications and maintenance in Clean California. So just want to put a public service announcement and please let people know if they're interested in jobs with Caltrans in all our districts, including District 10. Please reach out to me or to our coordinator online for jobs if you're interested. So I'll send all the appropriate links to you, Eric and Stacy. And that will complete my report. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good. Thank you, Commissioner Agar. I just wanted to note too, as you were talking about the Clean California, I think some of the information I saw, and maybe it's going to be in the packet you forward, but that there were opportunities in addition to the hiring that Caltrans is putting forth, that for nonprofit and community organizations to, adopt highways, interchanges, sections, and actually get some contribution to their nonprofit efforts, modest amount, but I don't know if you want to just touch on that, because that's an opportunity for local groups, whether it be youth or adults or, whatever their particular interest is, to actually work to keep our highways clean, but also then to reap, some return that would help them in their nonprofit efforts. So.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. And yes, that is part of our Adopt a Highway program. And you do get a stipend of $250 per month, and that would be segments, and individuals or groups are highly encouraged to apply through each of the respective districts to adopt the section of a highway or interchange. So yes, thank you for mentioning that.
You bet. Good. Thanks, Jess. And thank you once again for sending the project list through. That's helpful. And I know that, when you first came out of commission, I think you got some directed questions about who was coordinating what, and you've provided this on a regular basis. And thank you and your colleagues for doing so. I think it's helpful to all of us in our respective roles on this commission to know, what's going on, and certainly to see the work and to have an idea of where construction may be occurring at any given time. So thank you for forwarding that too. Okay, very good. Any questions of Commissioner Agar by fellow commissioners? Okay, seeing none. Thanks, Dennis. Anybody else? Stacy, got a hand raised for reports?
I'm seeing no hands raised.
Okay. All right. Well, if you think of something before the end of the meeting, we can always come back to this. So, all right. Thank you very much. And we'll now move down to our consent agenda.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, go ahead. Eric.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry for interrupting. Your executive director is falling down on the job, and I neglected to do a very important thing before this meeting started, and that is to formally administer the oath to new commission member Birdsong. And since we're about to take a vote, I would like to ask if we could have 30 seconds to do that quick administration of the oath. She has it in front of her, and our Deputy Attorney General Carlos Mejia is prepared to jump in and complete it all.
Not too late at all.
Now you can all see the magic. Yeah, now you all can see the magic that normally happens behind the curtain.
Okay, go ahead, Mr.
For all this.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Birdsong, as you have the oath form in front of you, if you would be kind enough to raise your right hand and to recite the oath written in front of you, please go ahead at your leisure.
I, Christine Birdsong, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, and congratulations upon your assumption of office. Mr. Chair, if I could ask that you direct the clerk to have the minutes reflect that Commissioner Birdsong recited the oath of office before me prior to the Commission's consideration of item 6. I think that would be ideal for record keeping. And unless there are any questions, thank you very much.
Okay, well, so noted, Stacy, you got all that down?
I did.
Okay, how about a round of applause, virtually or otherwise, welcoming you to the commission now again. So, and I see a hand up from, is it Liz Westbrook? Liz?
I believe that's a clap.
Oh, that's a clap. Oh, I only saw one hand. That's okay, very good. We need to have an icon for the clap, I guess. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Liz. Okay. Welcome once again. Now we'll get down to the business at hand, which is the consideration of the consent agenda. And thank you, Carlos, for administering the oath. And all right, so we have two items on the consent calendar: approval of the September 16, 2021 minutes and approval of the 2022 commission meeting dates. And Eric, we wanted to make sure one of the hold dates, I think, which would have been for April, that we actually, it looks like we are in all likelihood going to have that. We want to make sure people don't just have it as a note, as more as a firm. Is that right?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just real quickly, for the 2022 commission meeting dates, we're working off of the existing schedule we've established, which is regular commission meetings on the third Thursday of odd numbered months. So here on November 18th. In addition to those 6 commission regular meeting dates, we're proposing a set of alternate commission meeting dates. One of those, April 21st, 2022, is proposed for executive director candidate interviews. And that's something we'll talk a little bit more about in agenda item 10. And the further thing I would note is that during the span of 2021 and for most of 2020, we've been allowed to conduct meetings via remote means, web-based, without people in the same location. These Zoom meetings are authorized under Government Code Section 11133 to continue until January 30th, 2022. Will take us through our next commission meeting slated for Thursday, January 20th. I don't know if there will be additional legislative action prior to the end of January, or if the governor will take some type of emergency administrative action. But as of this time, and in consultation with you, Mr. Chair, I'd suggest that we plan to have the January commission meeting date via Zoom. And then at the time of that meeting, I'm sure we'll have a clear sense of whether we are authorized to do these remote-based meetings in the future, or whether we will go back to in-person meetings, or some combination of the two, perhaps. During the Zoom era, we've started our meetings at 4 p.m. That's in the staff report for proposed remote-based meetings. An outstanding question is, if we do go back to in-person meetings, would the commission like to start them at that time or start them a little later? Excuse me, or at a different time altogether? And again, especially for our new commission member Birdsong, our intention with our meetings is to move them around the Delta region. So generally, they can be anywhere between Sacramento, Stockton, and Antioch, and often in rural areas in between. Anyway, that was quite lengthy. I hope I explained that to satisfaction. But those meeting dates are subject to commission member approval. I did want to add the additional flavor onto that item.
Well, thank you, Eric. And I'm going to turn to commissioners, see if there's any questions or comments. Just by way of clarification, so we adopted dates and then have alternate dates. But it looks like in the spring, we would meet March, April, and May, at least as currently anticipated. So just would note that. And I think it was important that you pointed out that unless there's objections, we would have the January 20th meeting via this medium. But it then visited that time, for the later spring meetings as to, what format, whether we return in person or continue with a hybrid approach or just the remote approach. But let me turn my fellow commissioners, any comments, suggestions?
Or no hands raised? Oh,
Yeah,
Oscar.
Mr. Chair, I think the jury's still out in large part based upon a whole series of things. I mean, obviously the counties, it seems at the moment, counties are kind of doing their own thing. I mean, eventually, hopefully everybody, the whole state of California will eventually have kind of the same rules, but we're still in a moment of some flux. And so depending on where the meetings are held, the rules may be different at the moment. So I know for us in Yolo County, we don't anticipate going back to in-person meetings, certainly not until the beginning of the year, and it may be into the spring at this rate. So I think that jury's still out on kind of how that would work for us in some ways.
So I take it, Oscar, but as suggested, do the January meeting via Zoom. Yeah, you'd be in agreement with that? Okay. All right, any other commissioner, good points? Okay, so this is just adopting the calendar with the notations, but I think if I won't say when, at the time we return to in-person meetings, we'll have to talk about the start time, but I would advise folks kind of hold the evening in the event that we do return to in-person meetings, because there is travel time, obviously, but then depending upon the distance and so forth, and people's ability to get from place of work or wherever they're departing from to the meeting place can be a bit distant. So, okay, so for this consent item, though, we're just asking to establish a calendar. And thank you, Eric, for the background, and Oscar for your comments. And let me see, are there any comments? We'll take up 6 and 7 together. Are there any public comments, Madam Clerk?
I see none at this time.
Okay, any other commissioner?
Vegas?
Okay, Villegas moves. Second?
I'm sorry, who was our second?
Don't have one yet, I'm waiting.
Oh,
You do now,
Pedro,
Commissioner
second.
Fuller.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was, yeah, Commissioner Vasquez did second it.
But did he? Okay,
Yes.
all right, and Fuller came in close third, and Slater looks like he was trying to get in there too, so, anyway, okay. Photo finished. All right, so we have a motion and a second, and if there's no further comments to adopt the consent agenda, and we'll go ahead and call for the vote.
thank you. Chair Nottoli,
Aye.
Vice Chair Nguyen,
Yes.
Commissioner Villegas,
Aye.
Commissioner Vasquez,
Yes.
Commissioner Fuller,
Aye.
Commissioner Steele. I know Commissioner Steele has been having a problem with audio. Are we able to accept his vote by chat, since we know he is online?
Carlos?
If we have a clear indication of the commissioner's voting intent, yes. So if he explicitly says in the chat that he is voting yes on the consent agenda, or I suppose if he made some sort of visual demonstration on camera, that would suffice as well, as long as we've got a clear recitation of his intent.
Okay, thanks, Carlos. So we'll pen to paper, just put yes and hold it up, that we do, I guess, or no? Okay.
That would probably suffice as long as we're clear that we're on the particular agenda item. But as the clerk suggested, I think probably the
chat.
clearest way would be with a chat explicitly stating a vote on the consent agenda.
All right, thanks, Carlos. Stacy, are you able to communicate with Commissioner Steele to?
I do not see him at the moment, so let me continue forward and I will come right back around.
Okay, very good.
Commissioner Paroli,
Yes.
Commissioner Slater,
Aye.
Commissioner Agar,
Yes.
Commissioner Birdsong,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel,
Aye.
Commissioner Bush.
Aye.
Thank you, and give me just 10 seconds.
Yeah, I don't see that he is still on the meeting.
I don't either, actually. So Chair Nottoli, we have 11 yeses, 0 nos, and 0 abstains.
Okay. Well, hopefully we get that grant for improved Wi-Fi for the Isleton area. That will may assist Commissioner Steele and others in participating. Very good. All right, with that then, let's move into the regular agenda. And the first item up is the Executive Director's report. So we'll turn to Eric for that report. Great.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair and commission members. The Delta Conveyance Project is in a little bit of a quiet phase, or at least an internal phase. They're working diligently on their environmental impact report. The joint environmental impact report and environmental impact statement is anticipated for April or May of 2022, the public release. The Stakeholder Engagement Committee is going to be meeting on December 8th, and they are anticipated to be disbanded after that time. Much of the design work has taken place. That was really the intention of the Stakeholder Engagement Committee. So that's the rationale that's been provided. We did have a Section 106 kickoff meeting with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers on October 21st, and we had participation from Delta counties, from local groups and individuals interested in historic preservation and the impact of the proposed Delta Conveyance Project on historic resources. So I think that was a good kickoff, and the commission will be helping digest that information for other participants moving forward. More to come on that in the future. Moving on to the Delta National Heritage Area, we had a very successful Delta Heritage Forum on November 3rd that was coordinated by our program manager and our National Heritage Area lead, Blake Roberts. We had 79 registrants and people participating at different points during that afternoon program working into the evening. There were many NHA related sessions as part of the forum. And also the next Heritage Area Management Plan Advisory Committee meeting is scheduled for December 2nd. Moving on to the Delta Leadership Program, the 2022 program applications are due tomorrow. And again, this is the program that we present in conjunction with the Delta Regional Foundation. This will be the 5th cohort of our Delta Leadership Program. We hope to have approximately 20 emerging leaders from throughout the Delta region participating in this upcoming group. And I'll be working with Chair Nottoli, Vice Chair Wynn, and Delta Regional Foundation President Mike Campbell to review the nominations. And the first seminar will be on January 7th, and it will conclude by April 22nd, 2022. I mentioned earlier that the broadband grant that we worked on jointly with the County of Sacramento and the City of Ileton, we're still awaiting word on that. We're now told that the announcement is expected by November 30th. So keep your fingers crossed for us and we will do the same. Delta Waterway Cleanup was a very successful event on September 18th. It occurred in 5 Delta locations, but your commission staff were organizing 3 of those cleanup locations on Bethel Island, at the Broderick Boat Ramp in West Sacramento, and near the Tower Bridge in the city of Sacramento. We had 90 volunteers participating. They picked up a lot of trash. And special thanks to Commissioner Villegas for participating at the West Sacramento event and for the support that his office provided. There were no land use comment letters by the commission since our last meeting. That's a little unusual, but that's the case. On the staffing front, we are in the process of filling 3 commission vacancies. We're currently interviewing for an administrative support position and a front office person. And our final vacancy is for a staff planner. And I hope by the time we next meet in January, I'll be introducing a lot of new staff members. And finally, a more extensive update on our projects, list of upcoming events, commission budget overview, and metrics on our website and social media are included in my written report. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair, to report at this time, unless there are any questions.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks to commission staff for participation in Delta cleanup activities, and thanks to fellow Commissioner Villegas for support, and to all the 90 volunteers. That's pretty impressive. So Okay, any questions, comments about the executive director's report? Any hands, Stacy?
No hands raised.
They covered it all. Any members of the public?
Still no hands raised.
Thanks again, once again, Eric. Appreciate all the work that goes on, and you're giving us a good solid update behind that. Okay, with that, then we'll move to item 9, which is to receive the regular report from the Delta Protection Advisory Committee. And I believe that the Vice Chair, Barbara Daly, will be giving the report this evening. So,
Actually, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair of DPAC, Barbara Daly, informed me that she would not be able to attend.
Oh, okay.
And so I will just give a very brief report. The Delta Protection Advisory Committee met on November 2nd. It was a Zoom meeting. As they usually do at these meetings, they received a report on recent activities of the Stakeholder Engagement Committee. That's for the Delta Tunnel Project. They received an update and discussed the final draft recommendations for the Great California Delta Trail Master Plan, and that's an item that we'll get to shortly here. They received an update on Delta flood preparedness, including the flood preparedness website, which we also will be updating the commission on here in a moment. And then I provided an update on commission staff activities. And so unless there are any questions, Mr. Chair, that was the most recent DPAC meeting.
okay. Thank you. Thanks to the DPAC membership for their ongoing efforts. Any questions, comments?
There are no hands raised.
All right, seeing none from commission members, any member of the public?
No hands raised.
Very good. All right, thank you, Madam Clerk, and thank you, Eric, for the report. So with that, we'll move down then to item number 10, which is for the commission to consider actions necessary for recruitment and hiring of someone to succeed our current executive director, Mr. Vink. And Eric, you're going to walk us through the process, and if there's any questions and comments, obviously commissioners feel free to weigh in. So, Eric.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. And again, I think all commission members know at this point, but there might be others on the meeting that don't know, but I do intend to leave my position as executive director by somewhere in the middle of 2022. I'm not in a hurry to leave. Of course, I always work at the pleasure of the commission, and they might be in a hurry for me to leave, but I'm prepared to stick around for an orderly succession to whoever will succeed me in this position. And along those lines, Chair Nottoli has asked Commissioner Bush to assist with developing the initial plan for the executive director recruitment, including formalizing a duty statement. And the existing duty statement, I should note, is included in the staff report to the commission meeting packet. And in addition, the chair and Commissioner Bush will approve a plan to advertise the position that will likely occur probably just prior to the commission meeting in January. At that time, I will provide another report to the commission, but the commission might want to consider forming a subcommittee to review the applications that come in and screen for those who will be invited to interview with the full commission. And the full commission, again, the intention I had with the timing on this is that the proposed April 21 meeting in next year would be a special meeting for the sole purpose of conducting executive director interviews. Those will be conducted in closed session. And then that would, if the model that was used when I was hired back in 2013 is followed, the commission will presumably come to a conclusion about their preferred candidate at that meeting and extend a job offer to the successful candidate. So again, advertising the position in approximately mid-January, at the January commission meeting, the commission forming a subcommittee to review the applications and screen those who will be interviewed. And that's anticipated to occur sometime in March of 2022. And then the April 21st meeting, April 21st, 2022 meeting would be the opportunity for the commission to, interview finalists for that position. And the only other thing I'll say, Mr. Chair, is I'm completely committed to assisting with this process. I'll be the primary liaison if that's agreeable to the commission and to the chair in terms of, doing the staff work, which is primarily working with our human resources team at the Department of General Services. And I've already had a very helpful conversation with them. They're very service oriented and are prepared to assist us once we have a proposed duty statement. So my requested action to the commission this evening is a motion to authorize Chair Nottoli and Commissioner Bush to approve an initial plan for the job announcement, including any revisions to the duty statement. And either at this meeting or subsequent to this meeting, if any commission members have suggested revisions to the duty statement, we'd love to receive those in the coming days. My goal is to try to collate all of that and to present it to Chair Nottoli and Commissioner Bush in the early part of December, say in the next, sometime about 2 weeks out from now. And then we'll proceed with the next steps with coming up with the plan. And again, for that, I will be conferring with Chair Nottoli and Commissioner Bush on getting approval for all the steps in that advertisement process, how we go about advertising, and just generally the dates attached to the advertisement, et cetera. So looking for a motion to authorize the chair and Commissioner Bush to approve this initial plan.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Let me turn to commission members before we get a motion. You've heard the recommendation. You have the duty statement included in the packet. So again, either now or in the ensuing days, we certainly welcome comments regarding the duty statement and any other information and or items you'd like to share this evening. So commissioners, anyone have questions, comments, suggestions?
Don, if you're ready for a motion, I'll make the motion. It's John Vasquez.
All right, we have a motion.
Second, Villegas.
Second by Villegas. Okay, we need to see if there's any public comment on this item. Stacy, do you have any public comment?
There are no hands raised.
All right, so we have motion by Vasquez, seconded by Villegas to approve the recommendations outlined. Trust Commissioner Bush is still willing to serve on the subcommittee.
I am.
Okay, thanks. With that, we'll keep the commission formed, and then it sounds like in January, if there's any comments, we'll incorporate them relative to the duty statement. Eric will work through that, but then by the time we arrive at the January 20th meeting, that will have been issued. Is that right, Eric? That's the direction.
Yeah, I believe that's the intention.
Okay.
And if there's something that the chair and Commissioner Bush would like to bring before the full commission, then that probably won't goof up the timing very much. But I think the intention would be to try to get it out on the street by the middle of January.
Okay. Very good. All right. We have a motion and a second. Any comments before I call for the vote?
There are no hands raised.
Okay, thanks, Stacy. Go ahead, then we'll go call the roll, please.
Chair Nottoli,
Aye.
Vice Chair Nguyen,
Yes.
Commissioner Villegas,
Yes.
Commissioner Vasquez,
Yes.
Commissioner Fuller,
Aye.
Commissioner Steele, who rejoined. All right, we have a thumbs up. I'm assuming that's an aye for Commissioner Steele. Commissioner Paroli,
Yes.
Commissioner Slater,
Yes.
Commissioner Agar,
Yes.
Commissioner Birdsong,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Bush.
Yes.
Thank you. Chair Nottoli, we have 12 yeses, 0 nos, and 0 abstains.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Eric. Thanks, fellow commissioners, and we've got some work ahead, and we'll have ample time to give our kudos to Eric, but we're not letting go of him until we've got hopefully someone who can come in behind him and follow in his footsteps as well. So, all right, thank you very much. We'll then move down to item 11, which is receipt of the report and consideration of the release of the Great California Delta Trail Master Plan. And we will be releasing this for public comment and review. And I believe this presentation will be by Virginia Gardner and Sophia Zander from Trail People. All right.
Hi, I'm Sophia Zander. I'm going to share my screen in just a second.
Okay.
And while she's doing that, good evening, Chair Nottoli and commissioners. I'm Virginia Gardner, your program manager, here to introduce the presentation of our draft Delta Trail Master Plan. I'm very excited to have this presentation arrive. With the pandemic, we had a bit of a slowdown. And I just want to sort of mention where we've been. An awful lot has happened to get us from the Torlakson Great Delta Trail legislation being signed into law in 2006 to the development of this draft master plan. Sophia, if you can advance one slide. Great. So 2 blueprints have been completed, the Western blueprint in 2010 and the Eastern blueprint in 2019. Those were public processes to establish what the constituents would like to see in a Delta Trail. Trail segments in various locations around the Delta were designated in 2012, 2016, and 2017, and an updated logo was adopted in 2018. Then we kicked off this master plan process in 2019. And as I mentioned, although in 2020, like everything else, the pandemic put a bit of a pause on efforts to do our outreach, we are still on track to bring the final plan back for consideration by the commission in early 2022. And what we're presenting to you tonight reflects the extensive outreach that we have done between about May 2021 and today. So now I'll turn it over to Sophia with Trail People, who will make our presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Virginia. I'm Sophia Zander. I'm a trail planner with Trail People, a small planning and design firm based out of Benicia. So what I'll be doing is giving a little bit of an overview of the master plan, and then we can take questions and discussion at the end. The first slide here is about the study area. So because the Delta Trail is to connect from the San Francisco Bay Area to all the way to Sacramento, the study area for the master plan is a little different than the Delta region. For the master plan process, we included the entirety of the primary and secondary zones, Sassoon Marsh, and most but not all of the National Heritage Area. We structured the plan into 5 chapters with supporting information in each of the appendices. Chapter 1 gives an overview and an introduction and sets the context at a high level for the rest of the plan. This is also where we summarize a lot of the public outreach results. Chapter 2 covers the great complexity of the Delta as it relates to trail opportunities. Chapter 3 is the first part of the heart of the plan. This is where the maps are. And chapter 4 is the second part of the heart of the plan where the design elements are. Chapter 5 sets up how the trail might be implemented. And then the appendices include a lot of expanded information on items that were summarized in the plan, including the public and levy manager survey results, literature review, sample trail designation process, among other things. I'm going to swing through some high-level information on each of the chapters, and then we can expand on anything if you'd like. So for the outreach and the input, public input, this included a public outreach process, specific targeted outreach to levy managers, and then ongoing coordination with the technical and stakeholder advisory committees as required by the Delta Trail legislation. These advisory committees met throughout the process and provided guidance on trail development issues and opportunities, and they supported the public outreach process. The public outreach included an online and mail-in surveys and was used to help paint a picture of who's using trails in the Delta, who wants to use trails, and what the framework of the Delta Trail should be. The key question in this survey was regarding what type of trail connectivity was desired. And the results were pretty loud and clear that trail connections and a main trail were both really important, not one or the other. And the master plan therefore recommends, the recommendations reflect this vision through the adoption of 4 trail types, which I'll discuss shortly. The survey results also indicated a strong interest in connecting to natural areas, recreational facilities, and unique Delta scenic areas. The levy managers provided input through an online or a paper survey at their option, as well as follow-up listening sessions. Their input informed potential fatal flaws and opportunities in Chapter 3's recommendations. It informed context-sensitive trail design in Chapter 4, and it contributed historical context and nuance. In Chapter 2, as I mentioned, we were looking a lot at the existing conditions. In this chapter, we paired existing conditions maps with expanded descriptions of the existing conditions, opportunities, and constraints. Some of the conditions that were covered include the levee systems, roadways, bridges, ferries, regional trails, both planned and existing, transit to trails, boating and waterways, outdoor recreational facilities, and several other items. So Chapter 3, I mentioned, is where we got into the heart of some of the recommendations. This is where we introduced the 4 trail types. The main trail would be the core or the spine of the trail. This would be the corridor that is signed as primary Delta Trail with the existing logo medallion, and where feasible, these segments would have the broadest range of user types. They provide the best Delta experience, and they would provide connections to legacy communities, public transportation, and other important Delta destinations. Local access trails might meet, this is the second trail type, they might meet many of the same criteria as the main trail segments, but prioritize connection to the main trail over connections through the Delta. Water launch sites is a third trail type, and this would be water launch sites located along or maybe accessed by a main trail or a local access trail segment, or they may be standalone water access sites, and they would be meeting similar visions for use, location, and experience criteria as the main trail, but related to water, non-motorized water use. And finally, the fourth trail type we recommend is the adventure hubs, which represent a variety of opportunities, including historical walking tours, kayak and boat launch sites and rentals, bike loops, equestrian loops, bird watching walks, and much more. These adventures would serve as destinations within the Delta that could anchor a visitor's experience and encourage further exploration. They can also give direction and purpose for visiting the Delta, making it easy for visitors to decide where to go and what to do. And a key part of the adventure hubs is that they actually would be developed in partnership and as part of the Delta National Heritage Area. In Chapter 3, it also includes 4 regional maps of the study area with specific locations for recommendations. The first region is the Western region, which is the gateway between the Delta and the Bay Area. There's already been a lot of trail planning in Contra Costa County, in particular with the East Bay Regional Park District, as well as a few other agencies. So the land trail recommendations in this region reflect the planning that's already been done and the previous actions taken by this commission. Based on these actions, there are actually existing already approximately 30 miles of Delta Trail in this region. And also based on these previous actions, there's another almost 31 miles of planned or proposed Delta Trail in this region. This region also overlaps with the San Francisco Bay Water Trail. So the water launch sites in this region reflect the recommendation to adopt San Francisco Bay Water Trail sites as Delta Trail water launch sites. So it would be a co-branding, I guess, of it. The Adventure Hub recommendations in this area include existing established recreation opportunities around the Carquinez Strait, Sassoon City, and the Oakley-Brentwood area. The Northern Delta region is the second region. This is the gateway between the Delta and Sacramento and West Sacramento. And this is another area where there's been a lot of active Delta Trail related planning work already done, particularly in West Sacramento. Based on previous trail designations by the commission, there's approximately 14 miles of existing Delta Trail in this region. The land trail recommendations focus on promoting the existing segments and supporting local agencies in closing gaps, developing additional connections, and developing bike facilities. Water launch sites in the region focus on support of existing facilities and opportunities, and adventure hubs focus on the rich cultural history in Clarksburg, Sacramento, and West Sacramento. The Central Delta region includes the heart of the Delta, and it includes 5 of the legacy communities, numerous cultural destinations, and a handful of trails, but no designated Delta Trail segments. So land trail recommendations in this region focus on the potential for designation of existing local trails as Delta Trail local access trails, and supporting agencies in planning for an improved bike and pedestrian crossing of the San Joaquin River. Water launch site recommendations in this region focus on the support of existing well-established and very popular water launch sites. And the Adventure Hub recommendations focus on existing cultural and water sport destinations. Finally, the southern region, which straddles the area from Contra Costa County to Stockton, Tracy, and Lathrop. As with the central region, this region includes several local trails, but nothing currently designated as Delta Trail segments. So land trail recommendations again focus on the potential for designating existing and future local trails as local access trails. Water launch sites in the southern region were taken almost entirely from the 2019 Delta Leadership Group's Southern Delta Water Trail Study. And the Adventure Hub recommendations focus on opportunities near Stockton and Lathrop. Chapter 4 is the other heart of the plan that I mentioned, which includes guidance on trail design elements, what the trail might look like on the ground. A key component, as we say over and over again, this is a locally implemented trail, so there's no actual recommendations for what the trail must be, but a key component is this emphasis on context-sensitive design that's locally led and reflects local conditions and requirements. There are very few hard requirements for the trail beyond reducing impacts and providing safe access. The chapter does provide guidance and considerations for trails on or near roadways, levees, rail corridors, bridges, and agriculture. It also includes guidance and considerations for trail surfaces, trailheads, signs, wayfinding, and water launch sites. Chapter 5 of the plan finally discusses ways to make progress towards a connected Delta Trail network, so implementation. And it dives into the process for new trail development and recommends lead agencies and organizations for each stage. At a high level in this chapter, we cover the trail development process, operations, funding, and we dive deeper into many of these topics in the appendices. So this is one of those reports where you should flip through the appendices if you get a chance. All right, so I crammed a lot in there in a short time. Hopefully you got some information there. This meeting is serving to kick off the public review process for the draft master plan. We will be holding 2 public presentations, one on November 30th and one on December 8th. And the public comment period will end on December 16th. We expect to be bringing the final plan back to the commission in January to consider for adoption. I'm going to turn this back to Virginia and answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Sophia. I just wanted to mention for the commissioners that we're currently continuing to do outreach for the upcoming workshops that will be presented. And so we're distributing these cards, one in English, one in Spanish. Actually, they're 2 sides of the same card, around various locations in the Delta. And so hopefully if you don't see any, you'll let us know and we will get them out to you. We are putting them out in as many places as possible, and we'd love to have as much public input as is humanly possible. And I'm also really glad to see some of the contributors to our draft present at the meeting today. So with that, if there are any questions for either Sophia or myself, I'd be happy to answer them.
Great. Thank you, Virginia. Thank you, Sophia, for the presentation, for walking us through and for kicking off the comment period. So let me go to my fellow commissioners here and see if there's comments or questions, and then we'll go to members of the public.
I see no hands raised.
Thanks, Stacy. Members of the public.
And there are no hands raised from the public.
Back to the commission. You're kicking this off, so maybe folks still have to have a chance to read through and comment as you outlined, Sophia, and appreciate the work that you and Virginia and others have put together to bring this to us this evening. So does this then require any formal action this evening in order to move this forward?
My understanding is that it does not require a roll call vote. I think we would just be looking for any objections to releasing it for public review at this point. If there are no objections, then we will consider it released, and we'll put it up on the website and go out and get input. Okay,
very good. Thanks, Virginia. Yes, I don't see any objections coming forward, and if not, that's a good way to start out, and commend you to your work, and we'll see you back in January then, and we'll information item and release this with no objections.
Mr. Chair, this is
Yes.
Amy Halberstadt from Summit National Wildlife Refuge. Hi. I couldn't find the little hand raising button, so.
Okay, good. Well, you're welcome to, glad you weighed in. So go ahead, Amy.
Yeah, so we submitted a letter of comment, and were any of those comment letters addressed in this draft that's being released?
I'll let Sophia respond, and then also in general, what we plan to do with the comments and responses will be to produce a matrix of all the comments and specifically how they were addressed, that will be posted on the website once all of the comments are done on December 16th. But Sophia might speak to some of the concerns that you had specifically raised.
Thanks, Virginia. Yes, we did. We have documented all the comments, and we've responded to all of them, and we will be producing, as Virginia said, a matrix of what the specific responses were. The comment letter received from you and from your agency, we appreciate that feedback, and that was really helpful, and that helped really reinforce the importance of being sensitive to the local and existing conditions. And in particular, I think your concerns were around the use of the railroad right-of-way, and we received comments on both sides of that. And this is one of those areas that it's going to be really sensitive whatever happens there. And as you know, as the commission's role in this will not be to say one way or another what, and the master plan's role is not saying one way or another what should happen. This would be a locally implemented plan trail. So that corridor in particular will be addressed through the Sacramento County. And just the approach in the plan is to really reinforce the importance of the local development process and sensitivity to existing local uses, habitats, and the residents.
And I think I would just mention for the commissioner's purposes that this is a good example of what the sort of the overall approach of the master plan is, which is that the commission would be in a position of supporting what the local governments develop or arrive at in terms of their proposed trails. So we aren't really in a position to choose which trails go where. We're giving guidance for how Delta trails would best be addressed, including paying special attention to sensitive habitats, sensitive agricultural operations, and so forth. So we've included those kinds of considerations as design considerations in the appendices.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
I will add that, you know, as a trail planner, I work throughout the state, and one of the things that we really tried to include in this plan was just the uniqueness of developing anything within the Delta. And making sure that that's really up front and center for all future trail planners that are working on this trail, because it's different than any other place in the state.
Okay. Thanks, Sophia. I see a hand raised. Thank you, Amy, for your comments. I just wanted to ask before we go to Commissioner Vegas. So you said you're going to compile those, Virginia, as they come in, because again, what we just had the draft master plan, but we didn't have any of those comments attached. I don't know, maybe they're going to be very voluminous, but I think it'll be important, particularly if we get outreach or get, you know, for just to show up in January and all the comments are in there, not knowing exactly how those are being compiled or responded to, puts a little bit of disadvantage. Again, I had no awareness that the refuge had folks, representatives had submitted comments, and I know that trails can be of concern when it comes to
for us to make it into a cleaned up and version that we can provide both to the commission as well as posting on the website.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would be helpful for some of us who are not always tracking the website.
Yes. I was hesitant to do that, frankly, because I didn't want to make it appear as though, you know, all the comments had already been made. So
we'll take it. And again, you don't get ahead. We hadn't even released a plan officially, so I think it makes you know, your comments well taken. I just kind of going forward as we officially release this evening with the presentation. So okay.
Exactly. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay, Commissioner Villegas, and I think I saw a hand from Mr. Williams as well. So, Oscar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I actually was going to echo the same comments you just made. I mean, I think you know, obviously the sort of the rails to trails component it meanders through different parts of the communities, and in some cases you've got large swaths of land where developers are very interested in creating a pathway and very happy to work with those that are trying to, you know, put together a trail path that goes through there. In other cases, it sort of bisects large agricultural areas that are currently being farmed and maybe not as excited about the prospects of converting the rails to trail. So as a local elected official, I'm particularly interested in making sure that as the comments come through and that the conversations ensue, that we going to wear a couple different hats, but certainly want to make sure that we are mindful of, you know, the challenges going forward with that prospect, but also interested in hearing kind of what the comments are that you're receiving as we go forward. So looking forward to the process. Thank you.
Good. Thanks, Oscar. Any other commission member before I go to general public? All right. Seeing no hands. Stacy, I'm trying to, oh, there you are.
There are no commissioner hands raised.
Okay. All right. Did I see a member of the public raise a hand? Mr. Williams raised a hand.
Chair Nottoli, I don't see any.
Yeah, I don't see it currently. Yeah, I don't see it currently. All right. Anything further? Then this doesn't require any action this evening. It's an information item, and as outlined, it will be there for the public comment on with the with the dates as noted, and we'll in all likelihood see this back in January. So, all right.
Yeah. Great.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Okay. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Virginia. And noting the comments, we'll then go to the next agenda item, which is item 12, which is another report. This one coming from Stacy, who changed her hat at this point in time and give us an update on the Delta flood preparedness activities and the good work that's going on there. So Stacy, I'll turn to you.
Thank you, Chair Nottoli and commissioners, for having me back to talk about flood preparedness efforts again. As I mentioned in the last commission meeting, we were working on developing a new Delta flood awareness and preparedness website to meet the specific and sometimes unique needs of the Delta community. I am excited to announce that we did accomplish that. The website is www.deltafloodready.com, and it went live on the first day of Delta Flood Preparedness Week, which ran on October 23rd through the 30th, which is concurrent with California Flood Preparedness Week as well. The website is going to be a valuable tool for promoting flood awareness and preparedness, both during future Delta flood weeks each year, but also year round, which is really our goal because as we mentioned, and you'll see on the website, and as we all know in the Delta, flood can happen at any time of year, not just during the rainy season. And of course, it can happen during times of droughts as well, which is another message that we do share on the website. It's really going to be something that can be added to other print and online flood safety education materials that we'd like to get out there. And be a central hub for all of the flood safety outreach efforts that we plan on having in the future. With that said, I'm just going to take a moment to show you around the website. So let me share my screen. Okay. And can somebody let me know if you can see that? Okay. Should be the website.
Yes.
Great, thank you very much. So this is the homepage for the new Delta Flood Ready website. We have a new logo. And when you come to the home screen and you scroll down, there's going to be some messaging unique about the Delta. And then there's some major sections that people will be able to go through. One of those sections is Know Your Risk. In this area, people will be able to find out the maps to find out if they're even in a flood zone. They'll be able to learn about how the different alert systems work and be able to sign up for the alert systems in different counties. Some of the verbiage that's used in alert system, there's a lot of different kinds of language of warnings and evacuations, and we want to help decipher that for our Delta communities. A major hub is the Delta Flood Ready 101. Here we really focus on helping people understand how they can help themselves and their loved ones, including sharing this information with their neighbors, even really thinking about their businesses, the people, the employees and the customers who come to their businesses, and considering their property, not just family homes, but also for our farmers and ranchers and their unique needs. That moves us over to pets and livestock as well, because of course that's such an important part of everybody's family, as well as many businesses in the Delta. And these areas are very educational and also meant to make sure people understand all of the different areas of the website they can go to get resources. We also have the Delta County services. So there's 5 Delta counties, major Delta counties, and we want to make sure they all kind of have different alert systems, and people need to know who to contact and what to access. There's a lot of resources there. And then we have another section of just lots of other resources like emergency kits and river conditions, information about reclamation districts, and a lot more. So they'll be able to get to all of that from here. They'll be able to reach the county services from here. And then as we start to have more events again, hopefully in the future, not too far out in the future, we'll be able to put other opportunities here for people to go to events. There's certainly events that happen in the counties that have happened in the past. And this will be an opportunity to share some of those events here. We are looking forward to developing this out further. We'd like to get some information, for instance, under this resources tab. There's a lot of great K through 12 education, educating families by educating children and getting kids involved in learning about flood safety is incredibly helpful to families in the Delta. So we're looking to get information up there, for instance, games or free materials or ways schools can get free materials. Also, any opportunities for like local grants or funding related to flood protection or education that might come up as well. And we're open to other ideas too. This is a living site, so we look forward, like I said, to just continuing to grow and refine the site over time. We did I do want to thank the DPAC members. I did give a quick presentation to DPAC members on the website. They have some great insight, and there's really some opportunity to support these efforts through some of the DPAC members there. So it's really exciting. We are continuing to look for feedback and through various sources, including you as well. So I do hope that you'll get a chance to take a look at the website as well as share it far and wide with the people that you work with and for in the Delta. We are developing an outreach plan to promote the website further beyond the efforts, for instance, the social media efforts that we did during Flood Week. We're going to continue to find ways to reach out and get the message of flood awareness and preparedness in the Delta out to our community members. So there might be media, of course, some more flyers, and then doing more outreach with the schools and the libraries, which we've done quite extensively in the past during past flood weeks. The next step too is we're looking to procure some vinyl banners that are going to be evergreens. They'll be able to last for years. They'll have the website on it, and during flood week each year, ideally we'll be putting them up in some of our legacy communities, as well as, for instance, like Rio Vista and Ileton, where we can find some collaborative locations with them to be able to share this information kind of on the ground as well. So if you have any questions or any thoughts that you'd love to share with me, I'd be happy to talk with you about those and answer any questions that you have. So I'll put my other hat back on. And so I'm not sure. We do have a number of hands raised.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you, Stacy. And again, thanks for being so versatile here this evening, and both clerical, but also obviously in the work that went into this effort in the website and so forth. And we do have a number of hands. So let me go to commissioners first. I think I see Commissioner Vogel, and then I know Mr. Ryan and Mr. Williams both have hands up as well. So Nancy, go ahead.
Thanks, Chair Nottoli. I just want to thank staff for the website. It's just so smart to focus on the unique flood risks in the Delta. It's a good looking website. It's comprehensive. And as we all know from last month, you can be in the middle of severe drought, break precipitation records, and still be in a severe drought. So it's important to have that all the time, every year, be aware message. So just good work. Great work, Stacy.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Vogel.
Yes, thanks, Nancy, for your comments. Any other commissioner before I go to other parties? Okay, I can come back to the commission. So Russ, I believe you had your hand up first. So Mr. Ryan and then Mr. Williams.
Yes, thank you, Don, Mr. Chair. I'm going to take off my DPAC hat off, and not because I'm bald that I like the hats, but I'm going to put on my reclamation district hat on. I sit on 4 as a trustee for 4 reclamation districts. Stacy, I really want to commend you for this effort. I took a very in-depth look at the website, and I like all the cross connections and the overlaps. It really is consistent to a lot of the other efforts that are being attempted out there, whether you talk about Bay Delta Live or the individual reclamation district websites that are required by state statute to have in place. We have our board meetings in December, and I'm going to make a motion to commend this, A, B, to also link your website to our website. so that way it can get a broader outreach of folks that are going to websites. And I'm also going to talk to some of my other N Delta family folks and alert them about that. I'm very much well connected with those N Delta folks and get them to do the same. But again, amazing work, and I really commend you on that.
Thank you,
Thank
Russ,
you.
for your comments, and Stacy, again, kudos to you, and very kind comments, but well deserved. So, thanks. Okay, then Mr. Williams, Tom.
Hi, Dr. Tom Williams again. Have you gotten the Corps of Engineers Sacramento involved? Because I have done environmental assessments for Blackview Reservoir and several others regarding flooding and such like that. And also I did a project for the Baton Rouge Corps of Engineers and required 10 days of overflight of the Mississippi Delta. The big issue for me is you got gas storage facilities and gas fields under the Delta. You have mucky ground, both of which tend to subside or in some cases rise. We have problems down here with gas pressure increasing and raising the Delta levels. So we're quite concerned regarding how you can get in any sort of subsidence uplift monitoring using lidar. Back in the old days, we had to survey, but now you can get 1-inch resolution using lidar surveys from satellites. And I'd highly recommend using these for the Delta to determine, number one, whether the gas fields are raising the level or lowering the level. This would also be preparatory to the Delta conveyance. And question as to the muck. Is it subsiding? Has it been subsiding? At what rates? Is it going to rise if they do a tunnel? Will it fall if they do a tunnel? So I'll be contacting Erik later on tomorrow. And by the way, it is a PhD doctor. Thank you. That's all.
Good. Thank you, Dr. Williams. Appreciate your comments and calling in. So any other commission member or member of the public wish to comment on the Delta preparedness?
Mr. Chair, I just want to add additional expressions of gratitude to Stacy Hayden. This was entirely her effort. I think her design sense is really reflected well in this website. I like that I look at it and I don't think state agency. I think, wow, this is just really a very helpful and very user-friendly. And that's really the intention. It's intended to be helpful to people out in the Delta community. And it's music to my ears to hear a reclamation district trustee commended as well, because they're a primary audience for this. The people they serve are our primary audience for it. So really a big, big tip of the hat to Stacy. I greatly appreciate her work.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I did want to note that it was important to me to design the site for the community. The language that was used is really kind of very friendly and light and directed and easy to understand. Also, there was time spent in considering the different needs of, for instance, maybe some underserved populations as well. Sometimes it can be very overwhelming to be told there's all of these things that you need to do to prepare for a flood emergency. And, you know, you should build this massive emergency kit and really putting in language so people can understand that even taking one step or doing these small efforts at a time and how to kind of break it down so it's not so overwhelming was really important for this website.
Great. Well, obviously you're very successful at doing that. So great, Stacy. I do see another hand up, Commissioner Slater. Tom.
Yeah, I'd like to echo Russ's comments. I am just now thumbing through this, Stacy. It's beautiful.
Thank you very much.
And I intend to we are in the midst of looking over our individual website at RD999. And you can look forward to me calling you, Stacy, and getting some tips on how to improve ours. It looks beautiful.
Happy to help.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom, for your comments. So, all right. A lot of kudos, well-deserved. Any other comments, public or commissioners on this? If not, this is ongoing work and a great foundation here to work off of. So thanks again. Anybody else?
There are no hands raised.
All right, a lot of thumbs up. We can put the hands up there to that applause that we saw earlier this evening. And thanks again, Stacy. Okay. All right, well, we've worked down through our agenda and it's dinner time. And so we're going to get you out on time, I think, this evening, commissioners. And I see a thumbs up also from Dennis Ajar and another clap from, or maybe, yep, another clap from Dr. Williams. So keep getting all those kudos coming in then, Stacy. So, all right. With that, we are at the bottom of the agenda. Were there any other commissioner comments or announcements that folks wanted to add? Otherwise, I won't belabor this and we can look forward to our next meeting in January. Eric, anything else for the good of the order?
No, just our next meeting is January 20th. It will be on Zoom at 4 p.m. and look for an agenda and a meeting packet from us early in the new year.
Very good. Well, before we adjourn, let's wish everyone wonderful, safe, happy holiday season. Thanksgiving's come up, obviously Christmas and other celebratory events during the December timeframe. And with that, a big thanks to everyone who participated here this evening, to my fellow commissioners, and to all. We have a wonderful holidays season, and we'll see you back, if not before, somewhere along the ways. See you back in January. So with that, we'll stand in adjournment. Thank you so much.
Have a safe holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You bet. Thank you all.